And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
All right, well, welcome to the Weighing In Podcast. It is a wonderful day, and we did at the PFL. We're going to talk about the PFL and some of the fantastic fights that they had on Friday night. We've got all kinds of fan questions, so if you have a fan question that you send in to OnlyFans or even YouTube, we're going to try to answer that question, so make sure you check out what the answer is, because my man Josh Thompson's got nothing but information for everyone. He's spreading it like peanut butter.
Not like an STD, buddy. I got it.
STD.
Like an STD.
I thought peanut butter was a lot nicer than an STD, but you know, to some people, it's just as deadly.
No, I mean you gotta be able to get some to get the STD. So that's kind of the fun part, right?
Okay,
like spreading peanut butter don't mean shit to me. I'm not a big peanut butter fan.
How are you not a peanut butter fan? Peanut butter is one of the greatest inventions of all time.
You know, when I was a kid, I hated peanut butter.
Really?
I hated it. Yeah, I would go to school with jelly sandwiches. That's how much I hated peanut butter. I hated it. But now they came out. Now that there's almond butter, I'll chew me up some almond butter.
Butter's good.
Almond butter's bomb. Yeah, I like the macadamia, and also they do like a little macadamia type mix butter. I like that as well.
All of it.
But John, I got to be honest, man. The PFL had some good fights.
They actually did. They had some really good, a lot of finishes, and that's what you're always looking for.
Yeah, and you're looking for those in high level fights, right?
Yep.
When you were watching, and we were talking last week. We were talking about the Ariel and the Don Davis situation and this and that, and talking about how fighters didn't, they weren't making as much. And which the bottom line is yes, they are. What it is that you're taking the fighters that weren't in the tournament series. Those guys' contracts are a lot more than the people that were in the tournament in the tournaments before.
Oh yeah,
their fighter pay, I can back up and say like it wasn't great in that tournament.
No, but exponentially now it's gone up immensely.
Yes,
based upon some of the contracts, and this is really, I don't care who it is. If it was the PFL, if it was Bellator before. If you're going to be in that position, you've got to pay fighters more than the UFC for the most part. Now the UFC's got their top guys. Hey, they're making good money, but you've got to pay more because that's the reason that people will go over and fight for you. You got to call it like it is. If it was, the same pay, they're all going to want to go to the UFC.
Absolutely. And look, even fighters that are making say $100,000 more, they still want to go to the UFC.
Yeah.
Because there's an opportunity there that will bring them more revenue when it comes to sponsors within their community, popularity.
Exactly.
I want, if you take a look, Michael Chandler went over there. Who went over there before Chandler? Eddie Alvarez. And Eddie went like right when the social media thing was starting to take off. And what's it called? And Michael Chandler went over there when the social media thing was really already took off. He jumped, I want to say close to 600 or 500,000, basically 500,000 subscribers within like a one fight.
Yeah.
And that's how big it is.
Yeah.
And so when you're saying like, hey, where do I go to make up that $100,000? You go to the UFC, and that's the thing. You can get paid more. That our argument always was when we were working for Bellator, they're getting paid better than the UFC fighters. Unless you're the champion, unless you're the John Joneses and the GSPs and the Robbie Lawlers, those guys are making more.
If you're getting pay-per-view points, you're doing pretty well with UFC.
You're doing pretty damn well over there. Yep. But when it came down to just like fighters that are ranked in the top 10, the Bellator guys were making a little bit more money. Yeah. And that's a very tough business model to sustain for a long period of time. And maybe that's why Bellator had struggled, but there was other reasons why. I mean, that within the community in terms of the back pay or not back pay, but the not production, but just the CBS / Showtime, that whole system.
Yeah.
The people at the top, even above the Showtime pay grade, it was beyond them. It was the people running Paramount and whatever you want, Viacom, that whole situation. It wasn't there anymore. They had so many changes of
they lost the people at the top that liked MMA and put in people that had no clue about it and didn't care.
Well, it wasn't even just that they liked MMA. There was people that liked live sports.
Yeah.
And what's funny is like you see it now, John, is that there's companies starting up that only want to be involved in live sports. Netflix right now just came out publicly and said, we're going to try and do this because we just want to get more into live sports. We have a big enough budget. We just haven't been spending any money on it. Well, now we are gonna. That's because after COVID, live sports, live concerts and live events are huge. Everybody wants to go to these events because, like we were held captive for 4 years. So now they're like, let's get
and it's also look, people want to be seen with other people. Mm-hmm. And when they like the people that are going to certain events and stuff, they want to go to those events because they want to see those people there and stuff. And that's just, that's part of live, entertainment.
I mean, we were going to have Bobby Lashley on this weekend, but then I didn't realize, George, until you told me I'm not a WrestleMania guy, but he's in Vegas for WrestleMania. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So he just had his AEW thing this last weekend. Now he's in Vegas, doing stuff out there, But we were talking about having him on just for this weekend. Would have made perfect sense if he was in town because he lives right down the street from me, and him and I do the Dad Dojo together with Rich Chow. So it'd have been perfect. We could have had him on. But WrestleMania is in Vegas, and so they're all out there doing that thing. John, but the fights themselves, when it came down to the PFL, it was nice to see their best fighters in there putting on a show.
Absolutely.
It was, and the fact that we got finishes from some of the best fighters that they have on the roster. Some of their best fighters are not in this tournament because they're either the champion or injuries or got hurt, whatever it was. Like last week's, the 135-pound division, that whole tournament fell apart.
Oh, it's bad.
I mean, it all the way down until like the day or two before, they were still losing fights.
Oh yeah. Well, even this one.
Yeah.
Even this one, they lost, because it was supposed to be Shabley against Primus, which is a rematch that Primus did not do well in the first time.
Yeah.
It was a tough fight for him. You had Mertzelayev was supposed to be going against Jordan Newman. I know that one got canceled. You had, I want to say Casio against someone I can't remember. But I mean, just a bunch of them. Watley, I think it was Watley. But they had a bunch of fights just falling out. And it's like, they at least, they kept, Primus in and brought him, an opponent. It wasn't, the best opponent, in the world, but it was what they could get at the time. And you look and you go, hey, you're trying to save your, card and keep your guys in this tournament that you want in there. And Primus did very well in the last seasons, and he wants to be in this one. So when you got someone that wants to fight for you and wants to be there, you want to try to at least, keep them in there.
Yeah, keep them. Yeah. So, but before we get powered on this is betustv.com, betustv.com, bringing you all the best sports and obviously combat sports stuff. So that's what we're here doing for betustv.com. So check them all out, man. Use our, don't use it because we don't put it there. Go ahead, go to betustv.com. Hey, John, do you want to start from the bottom and work your way up to the top?
That's the way it goes. So let's go from the very bottom. I think it was
Aaron
Jeffery against Ramazanov in the beginning fight. This was an interesting fight because this goes to show people when we're looking at a fight and the way the judges' criteria is, and something I've been working on lately and stuff because we want to clear things up for people. But this is one where Aaron Jeffery ended up getting the split decision. But it was because he was trying to fight, where I have Ramazanov trying to grapple, trying to wrestle. And instead of doing any damage at all, he's on top. He had like 7 takedowns. But he didn't do any damage. He did some damage when he was on the feet, but he was always going for the takedowns. He'd get the takedown, and then he would just get punched in the head. And you look and you go, it's a fight. You can't just get position. You've got to get position and do something with it. And I think that's why Aaron Jeffery got the call on the split. I kind of agree with it. He was the guy fighting, and it sets up a great semifinal. We'll talk about that. But, Aaron Jeffery's a tough dude.
He's extremely tough. Tough to hold down, tough to take down. And look, Ramazanov had this fight in the bag. All he had to do was keep it on the feet. He was the faster, more explosive fighter when it came to the feet. Aaron Jeffery's had some moments in that first round on the feet, but as the fight went on, his punches became labored. And what we saw from Ramazanov, I was like, you're still explosive. You still have power.
Yeah.
Stop trying to wrestle.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, I don't know what your coaches are telling you, son, but you are blowing this fight. And he did. And that's his 3rd loss in a row.
Yeah, but
what does that do for his psyche?
I think the reason why I went for his psyche is because he lost those first two. John, I think had he not fought the same guy twice, and lost to the same guy twice, I think he would have been a different fighter tonight.
Might have been.
And this confidence thing, I can't tell you guys enough how important it is when you're talking about fighters that are coming off losses and having to fight someone like an Aaron Jeffries, who he's just tough, man. He's gritty. He's a dog. He's got good takedown defense. His body style, he's kind of tall a little bit for the body style. I think he's like, 6'1", 6'2", somewhere in there. But I can't get over the mullet and the porn stash.
The mullet.
It's great, man. It's absolutely great. I love it. And then, and his girlfriend's always with him. And it's hilarious to see them because I'm like, wow, you're a smoke show. What are you doing with this porn stash over here? But then you see I was sitting next to him for the PFL last July. And man, he is such a great guy.
He is.
And I was like, I can see you want her with the personality, buddy. That's what you got her.
Yeah.
But it's great. He's such a great guy too. I loved hanging out with him and loved chatting up with him and stuff.
Yeah.
But overall, I had it the same way, John. I just wasn't sure if the judges would have seen it the same way.
Then they did exactly, what they were supposed to do. It is who is trying to do damage. That's what it is. It's a fight. Get away from all this bullshit about, he was on top or his positioning. You do not get points for positions in MMA. Mm-hmm. You get it for wrestling and you get it for freaking jiu-jitsu. But you don't get it in MMA. And I'm all about utilizing your specific skill set and where your strength is. And it's obvious that, Ramazanov he's talented in the grappling. But as soon as he's in the top position and he thinks he's going to lose position, instead of opening up and going after someone and, okay, let's do this again, he's holding. And he's trying to hold the position. He's doing everything he can to hold it. He's, which means he's taking and he's, bringing his hands together and he's getting that S grip around their body and he's trying to suck them in, but he's getting hit in the head the whole time. And it's like, he got outstruck. Let's be honest, all because of the ground for the most part, but he got outstruck almost 2-1 in this fight, and he was doing well when he was on his feet, like you said. So,
yep. Every time he landed a shot, you could tell it had a little bit of an effect.
Oh, that mullet gives away a lot.
Yep. When the head shakes and the water shoots off of it, you're thinking to yourself, man, just keep doing what you're doing. Then he went to the wrestling and just kind of stopped the momentum of what he was doing. Yep. You got Brent Primus versus Cenci.
Look, just dog walked him. Let's just be honest. Cenci did, he got caught, with his. Gave up his back in the first round, was in the figure four, holding all of Primus's weight for most of the round. Second round, he did better. Third round, right back to the same thing. He got the back. And once he got the back, it was just a matter of time. I thought Cenci did a really nice job of controlling the arms and trying to, hold off. But, there was no doubt who was going to win the fight at a certain point. Cenci just didn't have any offense. So Brent Primus looked really good. It took him a while to get that submission. There was like 8 seconds left in the third round when he got it, but he got the finish, and that's what you're looking for. Yeah,
you're looking for someone that's, even though they're ahead on the scorecards, they're always still trying to finish and getting it towards the end of that fight is beautiful. On top of that, though, you could tell that Brent Primus was starting to slow down on the feet. So if he didn't get that takedown in the third, it could have been a nasty third round for him because he was dominant the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure to come in and continue to do the same thing you're doing. And the other guy, Cenci realized, I got nothing to lose. I'm down 2 rounds. Was dominated. Both rounds could have been 10-8, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just controlled the whole time. So you got to let it go. And he had clipped Primus with some good shots. Just wasn't able to do anything. Primus got him down and control the top position. Finally got the submission. But the fight that I thought was going to be a little bit closer, or not even a little bit closer, I thought the Shipman would do a lot better with Joshua Silveira, but he didn't. Joshua Silveira, to me, dominated this whole fight, John.
When you say dominated, I don't know if he dominated. He definitely won the fight, no doubt in my mind. But there was times that I looked at him and was like, "You need to get after him," and he kind of held back at times, and I was like, "This is your look at what Shipman's. You can see because Shipman's kind of Keith Jardinish. He's kind of stiff and he's got some herky jerky movements, and I think that kind of threw Josh off a little bit. But, there's those moments, he uses a lot of strength, and he then backs up and sucks some air in and then goes back to the fighting. And there's those moments you look and you go after him. Go after him. If you're going to go, this is your time. And Josh kind of held back too. And I'm like, oh man, you're giving it up, because right now he's sucking some wind. But he definitely won the fight. It's a well-matched fight. It's just that I think that Silveira was just a little bit more technical everywhere.
I just think the long layoff for Shipman had something to do with it.
Might have.
Just didn't look as clean and crisp. And I'm not taking anything away from Josh Silveira. Like, he literally, like, the wrestling was there. The striking also too, he had success on. Shipman was loading things up, trying to just throw one big knockout punch, was missing, hitting air. I mean, it wasn't his night. But everything, I think Josh Silveira was doing everything perfectly.
As you said, I think the big difference between the two was Silveira's defensive wrestling was too much for Shipman.
Yeah,
he burned a lot of energy trying to get him down, couldn't do it.
But then he was able to get takedowns himself.
Yeah.
That just kills someone's mental. Like, as soon as I shoot and I don't get the takedown and someone's able to take me down, I'm like, oh shit, this is not where I want to be.
Not what, the way it was supposed to work.
Being on the bottom of a better jiu-jitsu guy is not where you want to be either.
Yeah.
And so, like, Shipman's good when he's on top, delivering, ground and pound, some elbows and some big shots. Submission wise, there's really no threat there.
No.
So Josh Silveira can just be like, hey, whatever you do, I'm good from the top position. So, he was able to tee off and do what he wanted to do in that fight. I thought it was more a dominant performance for Josh Silveira. I agree. He could have opened up a lot more and potentially got him out of there. But also too, I think for him, he was looking like, don't get caught with something like this. This guy's herky jerky. Anything can happen.
Yeah. He's awkward.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm backing out with my hands down and all of a sudden clipped, and now they're waking me up going, shit, what happened? So
that was
Alfie Davis versus Clay Collard.
That was the next fight. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Get clipped and wake up and say, well, this is one of those ones I know the PFL was looking towards. Hey, we want to have a good stand-up fight with Clay Collard. We don't want someone that's going to take him down. But, when we talked about this fight, I said, look, this is a matter of Clay Collard on the inside. If he closes that, that space down and is able to get into boxing range, that's his kind of fight to win. But if Alfie Davis can stay on the outside, he's got to be very careful of Alfie and his spinning attacks and the kicks, the axe kick and things, the spinning back kick that he does. He's fast and he's strong. He's got really big legs, and he's got a lot of power on his kicks and stuff. And this one was, man, I mean, it was just really starting out. And I thought Clay was fighting the way he needed to fight to win this fight. And that was, he was going after him. He was closing the distance. It was all smart, but he got caught with that spinning back fist, and it definitely stung him. And then the shot, there was one shot when he was on the ground, he went out. You could see him. And they stopped the fight. He was complaining about it, but that was a good stoppage.
No,
it was actually the referee Blake Rice kind of got in the way a little bit at a certain point, but it was the right thing to do. Clay was definitely hurt, and it's a great win for Alfie Davis.
Yeah, I'm normally on the side of the fighter to let him, get the nail in the coffin.
Yeah,
especially at this level right here. I mean, but Clay took a lot of unanswered shots and was struggling head. And this is for me what I'm looking for is the guy with the head down, just fishing, but still on his feet taking shots. Those scare me because whether it's a knee up the middle, a nasty uppercut that dislocates your head from your shoulders, like those are the things that really concern me. Yeah. When you're fishing for something, you actually have a hold of something, I'll go ahead and let you, I would imagine I'd go ahead and let you go.
Yeah.
But he was lost, man. He was lost out there. And
his head was wide open because he didn't have his hands near it and stuff. And he took two really good shots. One of them was super hard.
Exactly. And that last shot too, they sat him back kind of to his butt a little bit. I was like, man, this is over. This is over. So when the ref jumped in, I was like, good call. I understand like Clay Collard's used to working through those things and then getting his wits back about him in the second round or whatever it is, third round, and coming after you even harder. But it was kind of one of those situations where, man, you took some big shots. And the spinning elbow, he put his head down and just got caught, like basically right there perfectly. And I've been in those situations where I dip my head a little bit and someone threw a spinning back kick.
Dipped it right into it.
It jammed my spine, and you just get like your whole body goes numb for a second. It really was like that. It's almost like shooting a double leg into a wall, where I've shot a double leg and I've hit my head into the padded wall. I'm like, damn, you get a stinger, but more so like your whole body goes numb. from your chest and your arms, your fingers,
That ain't
everything
good.
goes numb. No, that's not good, John.
That's not good.
No, that's not good. So, I mean, even George would tell you that's not good.
But that was a really good win for Alfie Davis. That sets him up to be in the semis, and good for him. It's why he's there. So, J.J. Wilson taking on Mads Burnell. We thought this would actually be a pretty interesting fight. J.J. Wilson dominated this fight. This is what I'm going to say. He dominated the fight.
Got it.
When you look at what he did with that Mads Burnell is good on the ground.
Yeah.
And he was unable to stop JJ as far as getting the takedown. When JJ would get the takedown, he would change position on him. He would create problems. He landed some big shots. Some of the hammer fists that he was landing were nasty in the beginning and stuff. And eventually we call it, a diminishing of his spirit and diminishing of his skill set. And that's really what happened is, Mads was trying to fight, but he got to the point where, he was getting overwhelmed by someone that was posturing up, landing the hammer fist at the end. And those were, again, putting your hands like this, but you're just getting smacked. They're only going to let you take so many. And I thought it was a good stoppage, and it was a great win for J.J. Wilson. He's really proved himself now as a fighter. And I think, him going to ATT and the guys he's able to work out with, just as far as in the room, not only the coaching, but the people that he's on the mat with getting better every day, you can see the improvements in this kid.
I think what they've done is they've taught him about professionalism. I mean, do you remember when he was a Bellator missing weight? Just, sometimes just doing things that you're just like, what are you doing? Like, you have all this talent, and we knew how good he was. And understanding too, cutting yourself to 45 was murderer's row. Like, you've got a huge body frame. Mads is on the other side. He should be cutting to 45.
Exactly.
But he's got the Kelvin Gastelum. I'm like, nah, I'm good, man. I'm going to just keep eating what I'm eating. And I don't want to kill myself. I understand that. I understand that as well.
Sure.
That was never for me. I always just cut the weight, but I get it though. I understand, right? Like, there's times you want to eat the tacos. Just ask Kelvin Gastelum.
Hold on. There's never a time I don't want to eat the tacos.
You're right. I had tacos today before the show. But yeah, I'm glad he got around other athletes that are true professionals.
Yeah.
When you're an American top team, whether you're at Kill Cliff or AKA, like, they teach you how to be a professional athlete. Hey, why are you eating that? Don't be going out on this night. Like, hey, we get it, this, that, but like, you got a fight coming up. Keep it professional.
Keep it business-like.
Exactly.
You are a business.
And I thought, I would agree with you. I thought it was a great performance, top control. That body style is so hard to deal with, especially if you're a shorter body style, having to fight someone like that, trying to sweep, trying to get them elevated, any of those things, and they can still touch the ground.
Come on, there was a couple times, you got to admit, Mads Burnell was pulling off some beautiful sweeping techniques, and JJ would get it a little bit out of position, go, oh, this might, and boom.
No.
He would fix it. He looked great.
It's the body length. I mean, I've trained, I had somewhat considered to have somewhat of a longer body for 155 pounds before all these guys, these gargantuan type 55-pounders came into the business. Yeah. I mean, if you go back and watch the Yves Edwards fight, Joe Rogan's like, Josh Thomas is a huge lightweight. And I go now and I'm like, man, I'm like the smallest lightweight there would be right now. I mean, outside of Mads Burnell.
There's two ways. Hold on. You and I have been together with a bunch of guys that are featherweights, and they're all bigger than you. And
they're all bigger than me.
And that's always my line is, you were a real big lightweight.
Right. It's funny because someone had posted a video of the Yves fight on Twitter, and you could hear Joe saying that, man, Josh Thompson's just such a huge lightweight. He's this, he's that. I'm like, oh my God. I get next to Islam. You get next to any of these 55-pound. I'm like Ghazi size now.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what You take a look at Ghazi, and he's smaller, but he's fighting well.
It works for him.
It works.
It works for him. He's explosive on the feet. Got good wrestling, all that stuff. We'll get to him in a sec. But I thought JJ's body style posed problems for Mads, and you saw it, trying to get the elevator, trying to get him up underneath and do the X guard sweeps. The guy can just post his legs out. If you got any type of flexibility in his arm length, able to post forward in a tripod, able to go backwards if he needed. He was able to base out on Mads anytime he needed. When the sweep was almost there, John, had it been anybody else, he probably would have got it. But JJ is a very tall, long, and lanky body style for the weight class. And so I'm glad he's at 55. I'm glad he's at ATT. I'm glad he's having success because, Man, he's always been talented.
He's got young and talented.
He's young, 27 years old.
27, 28.
27, has power in his hands, and he's crafty on the ground. Yeah. So it was good to see, man. It was really good to see. Dalton Rosta and Sadabusi.
I tell you what, it was really good to see Dalton Rosta have the confidence that he had in this fight. And when I say confidence, you can see that when a guy against someone he knows that C is dynamic on the feet, very explosive, fast with his kicks, knocks people out all the time. But he knows exactly where he needs to be. And boy, he's coming forward and he sits there and he's right in the pocket, waiting, just looking at him and looking for that moment that I can get my counter here. And I looked and I was like, the confidence, I go, all right, that's what you're looking for. That's the way to fight this guy. Put him on his back foot, put him against the cage. And, when you can throw your hands, throw him to get into the takedown. And he did that, and tried a couple of different submissions at times, but ended up getting the Darce. And when he had it, he lost the leg at one point, but then he grabbed it right back, and it was well done, beautifully. He's strong as hell. So there's got to be just a lot of pressure, even if his technique's not perfect, it's going to be a lot of pressure on you. And Dalton Rosta looked good, and he set himself up to get that rematch of the only loss on his record against Aaron Jeffery. And that was one that, was based upon, he got tired. He got tired against Aaron Jeffery, and it wasn't that long. It was only a second round of the fight, here with Sadabusi, but he did not look tired at all. He looked good. He looked confident, and he was fighting the way he was supposed to fight to win that fight. I really was impressed with him.
Yeah, I've always been impressed with him. Obviously he had some things to say to me one time in an interview because he had listened to our podcast.
It's all good.
I thought my boy Cotton was gonna be able to take him down. He wouldn't be able to take Cotton down, and it was the roles were reversed. And good for him, man. In that process though of watching him perform last night, I was very impressed.
Yeah,
I mean, he, like you said, he stayed in the pocket
beautifully.
He tried to stay inside that kicking range. Occasionally he was on the outside of the kicking range, but he also kept that right elbow tucked, and he kept the hand glued to his chin, and he was pairing really well with the lead hand. He did a great job. You got to be very careful with Sadabusi in that head kick from the top position. That rear kick comes up real high, and it comes up quick, and he sets it up really well with setting up with his hands. And so when I was watching the fight, I'm like, man, at any moment, Sadabusi could land that body kick or land that head kick. And so Dalton Ross has got to be very cautious and careful. And he was fighting a very smart fight, John. Very smart fight.
I agree.
He forced the takedown a little too much for me in the first round.
One. Yeah.
Yeah, that very first takedown. I was like, yeah, it's a little bit too much. That's how you could potentially get tired. Yeah. So I was concerned for him, but then he settled in like, okay, look, I don't need to force it. Just got to stay within this range. Great game plan. They executed to a T. And then the transition on how he got to that choke, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautifully done. So he threw the arm over, and he waited for Sadabusi to kind of turn a little bit so he could capture the elbow with the body.
And he went to that north-south and then switched into the Darce, and it was like beautifully done.
But what he did, John, was he had that north-south position, but he didn't go to the north-south until Sadabusi turned a little bit and then gave him the elbow to block it over with his body. Yep. I was like, wow, that was very impressive. And he did it so cleanly, putting it in the way he hooked the legs. I mean, it was nice and smooth. It was very smoothly done. So good on him. Like you said, next up, I want to see if there's going to be any changes. Because look, everyone's great when they're the hammer. And last night he was the hammer.
Oh, yeah.
But Jeffries is someone who likes to be the hammer as well. You saw that last night with Ramazanov. He wants to push forward. He wants to make you break. He wants to make you wrestle.
You know that Aaron Jeffries against Dalton Rosta, what made him successful was putting pressure on Dalton, making Dalton fight uncomfortably, going backwards at times. And so he's got his game plan. He knows what the blueprint is to beat him. It's now up to Dalton Rosta to figure out, okay, what do I do differently that's going to change his ability to have that type of performance?
You got to land a big shot to make him respect you.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only thing. Or you got to take him down and put him on bottom right away.
Yep.
So you got to have to out wrestle him with technique, not just bulldoze, and try to power lift him and take him down that way. Because once you get him down, he's really good at getting back up. So you got to either land a heavy shot to make him respect you, or you got to get the takedown and do some damage from that top position and not be concerned on whether he gets back up to his feet. And that will make him a little bit more hesitant to go ahead and come up on when he gets on his feet to push forward. But you're going to have to keep reminding him throughout the fight with a big shot. Hey, rip to the body. Hey, rip up top. Like, you're going to have to do something along those lines. The other thing, John, is, Don Rosta with those kind of calf or those kind of legs, you would think he'd be doing more calf kicks.
Yeah.
Because guys like Josh Koscheck, who didn't kick very often, but man, he had some heavy ass kicks. We used to get on him all the time. Phil Baroni, same thing.
Benson Henderson.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, Benson, he's got fucking Flintstone feet.
Well, it helps when you have a big old, flat foot out there. But
yeah, it really is. It looks like a beaver's tail. It looks like a beaver's tail. His friggin' foot. I was like, geez, man. Yeah, they look like Flintstone feet. Like they're big and flat and thick. They're like, fat. Anyways, I love you, Benson. Love you. Gadzi Rabadanov versus Mark Diakiese.
I mean, what do you say?
Nah.
Let's just be honest. Mark went out there and he was looking to, try to, do things on the feet. And it was a catch to the kick and a beautiful counter when he did it right away. And that just led to, he went after him. And that's what you're looking for. I'm looking for a guy that's a finisher. I'm looking for a guy that's not going to sit there and say, oh, I'll just get in, the top position here now. I want to put your lights out. That's what Gadzi went out there and did. And he looked absolutely phenomenal. And that's, we talk about that confidence. How many times did we talk about Gadzi and say, he just needs more confidence. He's good, but he's not fighting the way that we know that he can. And he needs to, get busier, and he's waiting. Well, he wasn't waiting at all. He was like, I'm going to go out there and get rid of this fast. 32 seconds, it was over. And that's after winning their tournament and their $1 million prize from the last one. Well, he's going after a second tournament win, and he started it off the way you're supposed to.
He's on an 11 fight win streak, John. 11 fight win streak, and his last 3 fights all by KOs. Yeah. All of them, all within the obviously all by KOs. He's got the Dufort KO, he's got the Primus KO, and he's got the Mark Diakiese KO. I mean, his last fight was his last time he lost.
Oh, it's way back.
Yeah, it was way back. When was this in? This was in 2020, so 4 years ago. He fought Medni Dikayev, and he lost the decision. And then he had rattled off 2, 4, 6. He had a 6-fight win streak. Then his loss before that was in the EFN. I've never heard of that promotion. It was Kamatov is who he lost to. You're talking way back in like 2013, 2016. That's how long ago. I mean, like he's on an 11-fight win streak. His last 3 wins have come by KOs. And when I talked about confidence a second ago, he's now believing. Like before, he believed in himself. He believed that he would win. He knew that his shape, he knew his wrestling. But he also, what he didn't do though, John, was I can just get by. Yeah, trying to finish. I can just get by with outpointing you. I can get by with just foot sweeping you and taking you down, ground and pound you back out, let you back up to your feet, and just pick you apart. Not really having to take a whole lot of chances. I mean, in this situation, he caught the kick right away through the left hook. It missed, but the momentum that he pushed forward, basically established his position right over the top and just started going to town.
Oh yeah.
He went to Pound Town real quick. It was over. It was over quickly. 32 seconds.
It was
great performance by him. I'm looking forward to. I didn't see who's he matched up against next.
I believe he's going up against JJ. Wilson.
Yeah, he's got JJ Wilson. It looks like it's gonna be a good fight because we've already seen the Brent Primus situation. We know when they fought, and Brent Primus he's to me. I love Brent Primus, but he's a lot slower than Gadzi. Yeah. But I'd like to see a JJ Wilson and a Brent Primus fight.
Be interesting,
because the two of them on the ground would be fun.
Well, we've already seen, JJ Wilson with Barnawi, and we saw how he was able to utilize great ground technique to get past Barnawi when Barnawi was doing well. So he's there.
But JJ's last loss was to Gadzi.
Yeah.
And then he had, JJ, that's his only loss. Sorry, that's his only loss to Gadzi. So that's interesting. I forgot about that fight. I'm trying to remember. Did Ghazi make, or not Ghazi, but did JJ make weight for that fight? There was something going on where he just didn't like. He had like it was a weird week that week for the fight. I'm not sure if it was that fight where he ended up losing.
I'm not. That was a lightweight fight, and I think he made weight on that one.
Okay,
but he has missed. He missed at 145, and then he missed at 155. But I don't believe it was that one.
Got it.
But that was one of those ones. It was the difference between being at ATT and the guys that he was training with, because when JJ was going up against Ghazi, he was a step behind. Yeah. In that, Ghazi is a slick fighter. He sets things up well, and JJ ended up, as I recall, he's putting himself out of position and he's overextending and he's trying to knock him out. And it's like, don't try to knock out a good fighter. Just try to touch him, and I think it's going to be a great rematch.
Yeah, it should be a fantastic fight. Fantastic fight. I mean, on the feet, it's going to be Ghazi, and on the ground, it's going to be JJ, but I don't know by how much. Ghazi on bottom is going to be hard to deal with, but I don't know if he'll be able to get JJ off of him because, like I just said, with the Mads Burnell situation,
true. The
body style of Ghazi, he's not tall, long, and lanky. He's about 5'8", 5'9", and JJ being tall, it's 5'10", 5'11" somewhere in there. So that body style is going to pose a little bit of a problem. For Ghazi, I think. But on the feet, I'm giving it to Ghazi. He's got the power in his hands. He'll take a shot to give a shot. He's just a very smart fighter, though, too, inside that cage. John, let's go ahead and talk about the main event, man. You got Impa Kasanganay versus Fabian Edwards.
Boy, I tell you what, a lot of people were putting a whole lot of faith in that Impa was going to get past Fabian. I was like, man, I don't know what you're seeing, but he's not that big of a favorite. If you want to make him the favorite, go ahead. But they're very similar as far as power. Yeah, I thought they're if you want to sit there and say that Impa is a better wrestler, okay, but defensive wrestling, Fabian's very good. He's good at stopping the takedown and stuff. And the real question was the dynamics of Fabian Edwards and the way look, he uses elbows incredibly well. He opened up Johnny Eblen in their first fight with a slicing elbow that almost got him the win. And the fact that it's not that Impa has not fought with elbows, but now at least the PFL has instituted that elbows are legal in all their fights, which is the way it should be. You're taking a tool away that can it can cut people. It's exciting at times too, and Fabian Edwards lit him up with some big time elbows in this fight. And it's not that Impa hurt it. He hurt Fabian at one point. He got him stung, but Fabian was very good at, and it's because he's in shape. He was good at collecting himself, keeping some distance during that time, and or then getting a hold of him and slowing him down. But overall, look, Fabian Edwards, I thought he won the first round and it was close, but they both had hurt each other. And the cut was a big ass cut. It was a nasty one, straight up and down through here. And so it's one of those you look and go, man, I hope this thing makes it to its normal conclusion. It's not that the doctor stops it. But Fabian Edwards, man, hurt him again in the second round and finished him off, and it was a beautiful job. And it's getting rid of a guy that's a good fighter in Impa. We know he's tough as hell, and he's got a lot of power in his hands, and he's got a gas tank. So great win by Fabian Edwards. And you could tell that afterwards he knew, hey man, I got by a good one on this one.
Yeah, no, he did get by a good one. Like Impa's very good. I didn't give him the credit when he fought Johnny Eblen. Yeah. I was like, no, Johnny's gonna walk through him. He had just won the 205-pound tournament for the PFL. I was like, I'm not impressed by your performance. And so then I basically was like, let me see what you can do. And then he went out there and had a great performance against Johnny Eblen in the first round. And then he was kind of putting it together a little bit in the second. And then Johnny was able to start coming back. And then Johnny won the third. It was like a very close fight.
Yeah, it was.
But I had that in that position. I was like, man, he's a lot tougher than I thought. But everyone kept talking about his cardio, his conditioning, his this, his that. And cutting down to 85.
Well, at 205, every time he fought, he had nothing but gas.
Yeah, nothing but cardio.
When he had 185 against Eblen, it was one of his downfalls because he got tired.
Yeah, he got exhausted. But Johnny also fights at a different pace. When you go up and down, losing 20 pounds, it's not like going from 45 to 55.
No.
Going from 205 Yeah, 205 to 85. There's a big difference in losing that amount of weight. That affects your conditioning. It affects your recovery. It affects everything leading into that fight. We saw it in that fight because in the third round, he didn't have the cardio that they had all bragged about from the PFL commentators. It all bragged, oh, he's got great cardio. He's going to break Johnny with his conditioning, his cardio. And I'm like, well, he got exhausted in the third round, and that's what lost him the fight. In this situation, he had plenty of time to get ready for this, and he understood, that, hey, I'm going to be fighting at 185 pounds.
But even they said he's looked sucked down during the weigh-ins.
Yeah.
The real weigh-ins.
But when I saw him in there, it just came down to a physical, to impose his will type situation. He needed to take a look exactly how Dalton Rosta fought him and fought the same way. Because when he was fighting Fabian Edwards in that pocket, Fabian didn't have an answer for him.
No, he was doing well.
Yeah, the elbows were there, of course, but when Impa was having success was when he was inside the pocket making Fabian fight an uncomfortable fight. You give Fabian any type of distance and you let him control that distance, he's going to piece you up.
Yep.
And, that last shot that put the nail in the coffin that sat him to his butt, and then the one or two shots after. But it was a long, rangy shot. He stepped in and hit him with the long cross, and was able to sit him down. That was from outside the range, and he was chasing after him. Had Impa stepped in and got him into some sort of body lock or some sort of clinch work, the outcome of the fight would have changed. Not just the outcome, but I think also, too, the direction of how you fight him. You cannot fight Fabian Edwards, I think, on the outside. He moves well. Like
he's got a 79-inch reach.
Yeah.
No.
And when I'm looking at when I was looking at Impa, I'm like, you were landing good shots inside the boxing range, and you can take him down as well. So it just, I started losing kind of where he was going with the fight. Didn't seem like he had a real game plan and had wrapped his head around it yet. Yeah. Because when he got out there, it didn't seem like, let me just see what happens. And that's not the way you beat someone like a Fabian Edwards.
So now if you're Josh Silveira and you're going to be fighting against Fabian, a guy that just beat a guy that's beaten you several times, how do you prepare for it?
I think he's got to fight him exactly how Silveira fought
Shipman.
He's got to take him down. He's got to control him. He's got to use that Arizona State wrestling, man. Yeah. And then that jiu-jitsu from the top position. That's how you're going to beat him. And don't be afraid to stand on the feet, but you got to make sure that you fight him inside that phone booth. If I throw one shot and he returns 1-2 shots, that's not how I want to fight him. I want to fight him inside the phone booth. I want to body lock elbows. I want to body lock uppercuts, left hooks, whatever it is. I want to get him in that boxing range, that phone booth boxing range, do my work. And when you go to respond, I'm going to drop down on the hips, try and scoop and lift or suck your legs out and take you down. Yeah. And then control the top position. Make him work from that top position. Josh Silveira is good from the top position.
He is.
Not just good ground and pound, but good control. And you can look at him at what he did to Impa and be like, look, that's not me though. Like Impa didn't wrestle. Impa didn't fight. He didn't fight. He showed a lack of fight IQ in this fight.
Yeah.
And his corners, it didn't seem like we're helping him a lot as much. Josh Silveira's got the opportunity to me, I feel like, to really kind of make the name. He's the only guy that won from the PFL.
Yeah.
He's the only one that won last night. So when I'm thinking, I'm like, man, this is your opportunity. Like, hey, I'm going to set myself aside from everybody else, from the PFL. If I beat Fabian Edwards, that puts me right in that mix with Dalton Rosta and the winner of Dalton Rosta and Aaron Jeffries.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense, man. And then whoever wins those are going to end up probably fighting Johnny Eblen coming up in September, October, whatever it is.
Be interesting if Josh does beat Fabian and Dalton does beat Aaron Jeffries. You got two guys from ATT.
Oh, I know. They've trained together.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
Oh, yeah. Hey, whatever, man. Look, that lets you know their gym's doing something right.
That's right.
I love it. It's just weird because the dad's the coach.
Oh, I know. Well,
and he's the coach for everybody at that gym. So it's a little, I'm sure they all have their favorites, but it's one of those things. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. Aaron Jeffries, he's no easy task though.
Nope.
And he's already gotten past Dalton Rosta. Can he do it again? And, in the Aaron Jeffries fight to me, that fight, Aaron Jeffries, nothing against Dalton Rosta. Aaron Jeffries and Josh Silveira, that style is like guaranteed fireworks. Dalton Rosta and Josh Silveira potentially could be. Dalton Rosta could stuff takedowns. You could end up with a fight on the feet between the two of them, which would be a fun fight. Or you could see Don Rosta try to force the takedown and get to the top position, but why would you want to do that with the good jiu-jitsu guy?
Yeah, I don't think he would. I think he would actually just stay on the outside and try to use his stand-up. So
yeah, I think they would end up fighting kind of in a phone booth against each other and just seeing what happens. But it would be a fun fight. Either way, I like how this 185-pound division is shaking out right now.
Yeah,
it makes for fun.
No, look, if you look at it here, the PFL just opened up the 185-pound. You've had some good fights.
Yep.
You got people that, interesting matchups going into the second round. It's the way it's supposed to be. So congratulations. It's working for you there.
Yeah, I definitely want to say congratulations, Mike Kogan. Good job on setting up the brackets. Good job on setting up the tournament. I know that it was probably pretty much him because no one else there knows what the fuck they're doing. But
excuse me, what's your name?
John, I'm just giving you a hard time. I think it's great. Now I know you probably did. You have some input on this?
No, I don't.
No, nothing. No. Okay, I thought you did a little bit. And I thought Ian Parker had a little bit of input on it, and I thought, and I think that's pretty much it in terms of knowledge at that side of the, But I know that obviously Kogan did, but yeah, I think this tournament shaped out to be pretty damn.
I think Kogan went to the coach, Jonathan Coachman.
Right. Oh, geez, man, it's getting deep in here, full of shit. I love it. Anyways, overall though, I mean, what would you rate this card? I thought, to be honest, I gave it somewhere in that 8.5 to 9.
Yeah, I gave it an 8.5. I thought it was fun. Anytime you look and you got, knockout, submission, knockout, flying knees, attack, all those. You look at everything. There was only 2 fights in there that went to a decision. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah,
it's great.
I thought it was a great action night of fights, and I'm glad I was able to catch them. So it was good. I have a little beef to pick with ESPN though. I went to go back.
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Let's go back and watch the prelim fights because I missed those because I was at Good Friday for church, and I go back to watch it, and they said this video is not available. I'm like, damn it! So I waited about 30-40 minutes. I checked again. This video is not available. I'm like, so I tried the Spanish version. That shit was available.
There you go.
I watched all the fights in Spanish. Didn't learn a lick of Spanish, but I watched them all in Spanish. So.
I'm going to be honest. It's the one thing I'm going to say. The PFL, obviously, they're not in a position to tell anybody anything really with ESPN. But that the whole thing where it's you got this view of the cage from 50 feet above, and nothing is It's like it just is a freaking buzz killer.
Yep,
man, it's bad. And I talk them into putting in fucking highlights of your top fighters or so. I don't know, but man, you're killing it with the fights.
Is it ESPN that does that, or is it them? I think it's them, John.
Is it them? Why would they do that?
I have no clue, man. I have no clue. I mean, like you said, run just like either your lead up to your next tournament, which they have this weekend,
highlights
right,
of the people that are going to be in it.
Yeah, I mean, like run something like that, or do just play a quick interview of whoever's in that tournament, something along the lines that just keeps people interested. Yeah. But watching it from overhead, there was one moment where it was like probably about 12 minutes.
Oh, there was one moment I was like, "You got to be kidding me, man!"
Yeah, I left, went downstairs, got some food, came back up. I thought I missed the fight because I was gone so damn long. Yeah. And I actually had to rewind back and come back. I was like, no, I didn't miss shit. I was gone for 12, 13 minutes. I didn't miss a damn thing.
Yeah.
It was just the overhead from the outside of the arena type view. I'm like, what are we doing? It's just not a way to keep fans. It's a way to get people to turn off your channel.
You got great fights going on.
Yeah.
And you're going to lose them based upon the dead time in between.
Yeah.
You got to do something about that.
Give them something, man. Yep. All right, guys. Hey, if you guys haven't checked the link down below in our descriptions, drink Element. John, show them the Element, buddy.
Boom.
Bam. Which one is that? Is that the citrus one?
The citrus.
Yeah, citrus. I like the citrus. The grapefruit, though, you got me on the grapefruit now, and I'm a watermelon guy.
Yeah, you can have all the watermelons. Yeah, I like the grapefruit. I love the black cherry lime, and I like the citrus.
Did you see? I got packets today. Did you get packets today?
I didn't get packets today.
Oh, I got packets today.
I'm a little upset.
They have a new lemonade.
Oh, no kidding.
Straight lemonade, yeah. It's a lemonade salty. Oh, it's freaking awesome. Kids chew it up. My daughter loves lemonade. She loves it. So now I gave her a little half pack, and when she had it for her soccer game today, she didn't bat an eye. She's like, "Oh, this is good. This is good."
All right.
So you got to make sure it's super. I put ice chunks in it, so it was really cold. So then she really loved it.
Yeah.
But we've been dealing with lightning and thunder all the last 2 days. So I was a little concerned last night because
Tough to play soccer in the lightning.
Yeah, we had a Good Friday for church last night, and we had like this huge thing outdoors, and we were worried that there was gonna be the lightning storm. We had live music, kids had games outside. It was a huge park, big, but we were under this like mesh netting that glows at night in the dark. Awesome, in downtown Frisco. But the things that hold that mesh netting up are huge metal poles. So it was like, please no lightning, please no lightning. So, but it was awesome, man. The kids had a great time. Kellen won some cup grab thing and won this like 4-pound gummy bear.
Oh.
4 pounds.
4-pound gummy bear.
4-pound gummy bear. They had a 4-pound gummy worm, but
you can finish it by the time you're 15.
Yeah, that thing's going in the trash, dog. He doesn't know it yet, but it is. Before we move on, though, I want to thank you
Dad,
guys.
what happened to my gummy bear? I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know where it went. It molded. I think the ants got to it. There's always something I can come up with.
Bear was licking it.
Yeah, right. My dog was licking it. Hey, guys, hopefully you guys are enjoying the show, and make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Also, apply for our memberships. We offer memberships at $4.99 and $1.99. I want to thank you guys that continue to support us. We do giveaways, and we'll be coming up with a giveaway. I want to say we're going to come up with one for coming up for this next week. So now that we got fights coming up for the Pratis and Ian Gary fight, let's try and get one launched on Tuesday. John and I are going to come down. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to go to betustv.com, betustv.com. And I think whoever can put together some sort of parlay, if anyone can hit a parlay, you can pick any fights you want. You guys come up with the parlay and you guys submit it. Okay. And if you guys can get it one try, you only get one try. John made this very point. If you guys can put together one parlay, okay, and using the odds from betustv.com, use that and post them on our send it to me, I guess, in my DM. How do you want to do that, George?
No. I'm sending it to weighing in.
Yeah, you in our email?
Yeah.
Okay. You can do that. You can also, yeah. Or you know what? Why don't you DM them to our social media at Instagram, and George will pull them up, and whoever wins, and we will send you guys over a box of elements. And on top of that, I also have some old school Bellator stuff, some old school UFC stuff. So I'll go ahead and put a list down. Like there's a couple beanies, couple hats. I've got some old Ryu hats as well, which is a really good sponsor, clothing sponsor. The former CEO of Nike started that company. Their fits are pretty nice.
How about an original hat from the very first UFC?
Oh shit, that's something. That's big. I think you have to make that one a little bit harder though, John, than hit.
Right.
I mean, hitting a parlay is pretty hard.
It's not a good looking hat. I'm just going to tell you right now. It's not a good
Neither was their old school logo.
That's the whole point. It's not a good looking hat.
Yeah, just put it aside for your favorite editor. He'll get it.
Okay. Got it.
But yeah, we'll announce that on Tuesday. So make sure you guys tune in for Tuesday. We do a Tuesday night live show at 9:30 Eastern time. Check us out. We are live across all platforms, OnlyFans, X, Instagram. John, we're going to get it figured out this week for John on Instagram, but we also have Kick and Twitch that we're live on as well. I believe we're also live on Spotify. I know we're live on Rumble, but make sure you guys check us out on Tuesday nights, live 9:30 Eastern time. Whether you're an Olympic athlete, professional hockey player, MMA world champion, or just an active kid, Element helps anyone stay hydrated. Each stick pack delivers a meaningful dose of electrolytes free of sugar, artificial colors, or other dodgy ingredients. Get your free sample pack with any Element drink mix purchase through link in bio. Also try the new Element Sparkling, a bold 16-ounce can with sparkling electrolyte water. Roll, train, ride, or play, but stay hydrated and stay salty. Let's go ahead there. Go for it, George.
All right. So I know we talked to death about the PFL a little bit, but there is some big news coming in from our friend Don Davies. He has made a tweet recently after the, Ariel Helwani beef was happening. He said, and I quote, "I love it when a good plan comes together. what we said will happen. PFL Champions Series starts in July. 4 events, 2025. PFL MMA's biggest stars. And then he goes to tag a bunch of people. Dakota, we got Apache Mix, Paul Hughes, Johnny Eblin, Corey Anderson, Chris Cyborg. Dates, locations, matchups coming.
I didn't know Paul Hughes was a champion for PFL. How about
I'm trying to figure out where Usman or Magomedov's at.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's rather strange to me.
Yeah.
What are you guys thinking about it? Do you guys think this is a done deal? Do you guys think it's him reclaiming his honor after 3 days like it's Easter? Happy Easter, everyone, by the way.
Yes, happy Easter, everyone.
Very true.
John, I'm not sure. I mean, like, realistically, I think he's doing this right now to save face, but I also think that they've been trying to work on something. They've got to be very cautious because the amount of money they're going to have to spend.
Sure.
You know, and so he's saying 4 fights in a year. Well, we're halfway through the year. So we're
a quarter of the way through the year. Come on, quarter.
Well, by the time July comes around,
by the time July, you're halfway.
A month and a half away from a year, right?
What?
Isn't it June? June is a half a year.
Yeah.
Or the end of April. We have literally 1 month away. I get it. Okay, look, we're arguing semantics here. Bottom line is I'm hoping that they fight as soon as possible. I want to see those guys and those females inside the cage. I want to see them fight. Whatever happened to Larissa Pacheco?
She's still there.
Yeah. But fighting who? They don't even have the weight class anymore.
Hold on, that's the whole question. You also have Chris Cyborg, but you got no one to fight her.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those. It's like, well, are you gonna let him go? But let's be honest, the UFC doesn't have that weight class now. So both of them are in a position. You're like, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
The 145s is almost like this. No one realizes there's a super heavyweight in MMA, which is above 265 pounds.
Yeah.
Because no one uses it because those guys gas out real fast. It's not real fun to watch. So
George in the background just flexing. I can do it. I can do it.
Got it. But it's a real question. When you take a look at, because they're throwing all of their attention into Dakota, which I understand why. She's the second coming of their Kayla Harrison, and she's good. Okay, she's good. She's young. She's talented. She's aggressive. Yeah, she's aggressive,
and she can fight.
She can fight. And so I understand, but they're gonna have a hard time keeping her if you don't let her fight. She's got to fight.
Yeah, the UFC already tried to get her. They tried to offer a trade for her.
I know there was a trade for her. Yeah.
I
don't want to say who the trade was for, but
no,
it was a good fighter.
Person, but it's a good fighter. Yeah. They were trying to trade one of their fighters for her.
Oh,
yeah. But I mean, look, honestly, I think it all worked out for the best. I mean, they're gonna have to work hard to keep her. So she's gonna fight through her contract. They're gonna be stubborn about it, But it is what it is.
It is. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can really do with these champions, and they've got to stay busy. That's the hardest and most difficult thing for champions because you're always fighting the best guy or best female, so you've got to always be ready. And in these situations, you got to be ready to jump on a dime if something comes up because you don't know when the next opportunity is going to come. Johnny Eblin's, I mean, he's the one that's been lucky enough, and he's had 2 fights since they've acquired them. But all the other fighters haven't fought.
No, it's one fight.
Yeah, they've all had their one fight. Johnny's had 2. He's going to have 3 here shortly.
Yeah.
So
it's a matter of you take a look. If they can have this where they have their, like Don Davis saying, this championship, they need to get these people fights. They need to get Dakota out there and fighting so people can see her. They need to get Patchy Mix out there and fighting so people can see him. Same with Eblin, but it's like you're talking about Paul Hughes. Look, Paul Hughes is great. Dynamite fighter. He just lost to Nurmagomedov. So where's Usman Nurmagomedov?
Yeah,
that's the one that should be there. But,
that was a little strange that he didn't include him in the tweet. Yeah, your social media let you down, Don.
Yeah.
I don't blame you, Don, because I know you don't run your own social media.
No, they're supposed to be smart enough to put the names in there.
Yeah. What else you got for us, George?
All right. So, Colby Covington. He was recently... You know. But Kofi Covington was recently on a streamer named Neon's live stream, and he invited Neon to International Fight Week. When he did, he said, "It appears that I've heard." He didn't say this, quote unquote. This is my wording, but
Okay.
he said, rumblings have I've heard rumblings of Islam versus Topuria and DDP versus Chimaev as the co-headlining main events. Do you guys think there's some smoke to this fire? What are you guys thinking? Is that smart for UFC to do?
So Colby Covington said that?
Yes, he said that was what he heard.
Yeah, I mean, he might actually be right for once.
He might.
Yeah, I mean,
he might hit that one right on top of the head.
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, Chimaev's been putting out those, the pictures or whatever of like some Roman guy with like a South African flag on his back, that kind of thing, and Chimaev with the belt. And that's letting you know, hey, I'm coming for the title, and then I'm fighting him. So that makes sense. And I saw a video and a picture that Islam put out, basically saying like, hey, camp has started. So that makes sense to me. Ramadan is over. They're full swing, ready to get back into training full time, and to eat whatever they want. So good on them. And I didn't think that they would be able to put the Topuria fight together. I mean, he's having to fight 245-pounders. It's not, to me, it's just not fair, John. Like, it just, give him the guys that have not had their opportunities yet in the 155-pound division, and have Ilia Topuria fight one of those 55-pounders. You fight one guy and beat him at 155, then I'm like, all right.
Hold on. What did he say that the UFC did, though?
You promised him.
Okay.
Oh, and they always keep their promises, John?
No, I'm not saying they always
what are you trying to say? No, tell me what you're trying to say.
What I'm trying to say is they had it in their mind what they wanted. And it's a matter of, I got to appease the other guy too. How do I do that?
Yeah, I mean, money's not normally something that they normally fold to.
I don't think it was money. I don't think it was money at all.
Then please lay some insight on me. What do you think it was?
I just look and I say, they're saying, hey, we need you to fight this guy. You're going to beat this guy, and then you can go up and we will put you in right away to a welterweight championship fight.
But if Bilal wins, which majority of people believe he's going to beat JDM, Habib's already come out and said, we don't do that. We don't fight. He's trained with us. We don't do that. I thought for a moment that possibly there might have been something to negotiate between the two of them. Like, hey, you know what? Let's just do it. And let's ask for this much more money, or let's do whatever. But no, nuh-uh. It's like, no, he's trained with us. We got a lot of love and respect for him. And I think everyone understands you got to admire them for that. Yeah. He's not going to fight him. So, I mean, he could be doing what the Marab and Aljo situation is.
He could also be going. He could also be going up to
85. I think if it's Chimaev, though, I don't think he would go. And it has nothing to do with whether he would fight Chimaev or not. I just think the DDP fight to him was a better fight for him.
Yeah.
No different than the GSP coming back to fight Bisping.
Yeah. Styles.
How much stake do I put in this? I put a lot into it. I think it's going to be DDP and Chimaev in Vegas International Fight Week, and I think it's going to be Islam versus Topuria International Fight Week. You couldn't ask for, but I want to. Who's going to be the main?
Oh, it's always the heavier.
God, that's horrible.
It's always the heavier.
That's horrible, John.
I don't know. Topuria 145.
Hold on. Yeah. I'm being honest.
In the pound for pound.
Hold on. It's generally, normally, usually it's the heavier weight class, but if it's Connor, it's going to be the lighter weight class. So I could see them saying, nope. Topuria against Islam is the bigger fight. We're going to put that one as the main.
I think they're not going to put it as the main.
I don't know. I think they would.
I hope they do. But just I don't know. Just something for me, man. Like Chimaev's got Dana White privilege.
This is one of those ones I look at and I go, I don't care. I get to see the fight. Doesn't matter if it's in the middle of the goddamn card. I don't care.
Fuck no, I'm biased as hell. I want my boy to beat the main event. That's how this works around here, John. That's how this works on this podcast. If it's an AKA guy, I want them to be the main event, and I want everything to be in their favor. That's how this works. I don't care what it is. So, look, if it's going to be that fight, I guess let's go ahead and play like what if. If this fight does happen, how do you see the Chimaev and DDP fight playing out?
DDP's got to get out of the first round. That's really what it comes down to, as far as he can't make the big mistake on the feet. They're similar. DDP is awkward, but that's actually an advantage in some ways. He's big as far as his size, and he does hit. He's got power, so he's got to keep Chimaev from taking him down. Can he do that in the first round? I don't know. He's not a bad grappler himself, but he's not that guy that you look at and you go, wow, his wrestling is just fantastic.
No,
he's more power. He's power based in how he does stuff, and power is great, but good technique beats it. Mm-hmm. And so I see Chimaev taking him down, and the question is, how do you do when he does take you down, and how much damage is he allowed to do, and how much energy does he blow out in trying to get rid of you? As the fight goes on, it tends to go towards DDP each and every round. So
you believe that his cardio is not going to be great in the second, third?
I'm being honest. I don't think, and this is why it's tough for me. I've seen him in the second round of fights, obviously, even before his UFC stint. And I've seen him, he never went past the second round, but I've seen him in the third round in the UFC. And it's not his fault, but whatever happened to him with COVID and how that, virus or whatever you want to call it affected him. It affected him greatly, and it caused him, he was talking about retiring, and he's had issues with his ability to maintain a cardiovascular base. He tends to just burn out, and when he burns out, he can't get it back. How when you were in shape, everyone gets tired. Okay, it's not about not getting tired. You are going to get tired. You're going to be out there, and your arms are going to get heavy and your lungs are going to burn. But when you get that 1 minute break, and sometimes when you get that 5-second break, it's the difference maker. But you get that 1 minute break, you're able to drop that heart rate down, and you're able to get yourself back to where, like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, it's all about the recovery, how fast you can recover.
He's having a problem with the recovery. He's not recovering the way he used to. And I don't blame him. It's something that's physically has happened to his body from the disease, where it's affected him in a way that hasn't affected everyone.
Yeah, look, the verdict for me is still out on him. Not so much in his abilities. The verdict for me has to do with his conditioning.
He's good.
No, I know he's good. I've never said that he wasn't good. No. My simple put is that, like, I got to see where he's at with his conditioning. Now, John, maybe he's figured it out. Maybe he was able to, like, I have a lot of friends that had some serious issues with their lungs after COVID. Then they went down to CPI stem cells and they got some stem cell treatments. And they said, like, they noticed a 40 to 50% recovery. They actually took MRIs and some of their scans or whatever of their lung capacity, and it's grown 40 to 50% after doing so.
And maybe he's done that.
Doing the hyperbaric chamber more often, and it's actually helped tons with their recovery. And so if he's done something along those lines, I could see a huge improvement in him. And the other thing with him is that he's a very explosive fighter. Yeah. And those fighters have a tendency, regardless of whether he had COVID or not,
burning
to go hard, and they burn hard, and then they slow down. Then they go hard, burn hard, and then they slow down. They've got to fight in bursts. Yeah. I've seen it too many times with a lot of world-class athletes, whether it's football, whether it's basketball, whether it's MMA. I've seen them do it, in kickboxing mainly too. It's a lot of activity, a lot of spins, a lot of this, but then they need time to recover. And he has that type of personality, but he has that type of body type where he just explodes with the takedowns, big slams, a lot of energy output. And then he slows. He has to take a step back and slow down and control the position. And if you push on him during that time, will he be the same fighter? That's what we're going to find out. Like, because DDP will push.
Oh, yes.
Can he survive that first round? That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. So
I'm looking forward to that. What do you see in the Ilia Topuria and Islam fight?
I'm being okay. All biases aside, all that stuff, I don't have any. I'm really gonna be
right.
I'm really not like you in this, not like you in this one. I'm really gonna be surprised if Topuria can stay with Islam. Now on the feet, he can stay with him. He's got very technical boxing, and his hands are tight, and Islam's gonna have a hard time hitting the target and being effective. But there's always a difference when you go up against somebody and you haven't faced someone that's got a specific style and the way they do things. And Islam doesn't wrestle the same as other guys. He uses a lot of foot sweeps. He does a lot of body locks to foot sweeps, and he's very, I don't want to say subtle with it, meaning he doesn't show you that it's coming. It's he off balances you. He leans you a certain way. He gets your foot stepping off, and here comes it. All of a sudden you're going out on your back. On the ground, I think Topuria is fantastic. I don't think he can stop what Islam does. Islam is just too technically sound, too strong, and just what he's good at, he goes to. And it's going to be difficult for Topuria to stop it. Size-wise, I'm sure Topuria will come in, he's going to be at the limit, but he's not going to be strength-wise the same. He can't match up to Islam at this point in time. Later on, maybe, not right now. So on the ground, he's going to have to work really hard to defend himself. So he's got, in my opinion, Topuria's got to keep it on the feet. He cannot allow this thing to get to the ground. If it goes to the ground, he's got to do everything within his power to get himself up right away. Mm-hmm. And if he doesn't do that, it's going to be a long night for him.
Okay, so I would agree with you on a lot of what you said, but I guess people are expecting me to be biased right now. And normally I am. But in this situation, I have to be as real as possible. On the feet, it does scare me a little.
Yeah, it should.
And it has nothing to do with that I don't think Islam can stand with him. He can stand with him. But he'll have to be able to stand with him in that kicking range. Topuria likes to find himself inside the boxing range, which is fantastic. That's great for him.
And he goes to the body really well.
He does. What concerns me, though, is this. And by picking this apart over his last couple fights, is that when you get into that boxing range, not Ilia Topuria, what concerns me is with Islam. Every time someone's got into that boxing range, he's able to grab them. But what he does, he grabs them with that tie plum. And that, to me, scares me. It's been scaring me for the longest time. His chin's in the air, Topuria being the shorter in stature, the punches come over the top, right under the chin mark.
Right over the arm.
That's always concerned me. Doesn't matter who he was fighting. The last 3 or 4 fights, he's been doing that. And I don't recall him ever doing that before. He did a little bit in training when we used to train together, but there was a lot of reasons why he didn't do it with certain people, because like our knees and the way we work knees in the gym, a lot of guys got away from trying to do that tie plum because the knees are right there up the middle or they're right off to the side hitting the body. I just look at where Topuria is at. He fights really well in a phone booth. He fights well in that small space, whether it's body, and then over the top. If you grab onto that tie plum in that body position and you start dropping the elbows and you leave your chin in the air, it's easy to get knocked out. It's easy to get caught and clipped. And with the power that Topuria has, that scares me. So that's the one thing that I see out of Topuria. Now, in the boxing range, he can for sure catch Islam. I mean, that can be done with anybody.
Yep.
Topuria keeps very loyal with his hands. He's very, very tight with his defense, very defensive fighter, no wasted movements. He's fantastic, man. And I think a lot of people, I didn't give him enough credit when he fought Volkanovski. But in the second fight, when he fought Max, I said, man, he fought beautifully. He got hit with some big shots. He took them. The speed of Max, the reach of Max, all of those things. But he slowly started picking Max apart, started seeing the openings that Max was leaving, and then he started capitalizing on them. And what made it so beautiful was when Max would throw and stay long, he would slip his head offline and he would still slide in.
Slide his feet forward.
What you'll see is they'll make a miss, but then they're still out of range to make them pay. So it's easy to like slip my head offline and maybe take a little bit step to the right, but then I go to hit you and you're the longer fighter. I can't reach you. He slipped and he slid in at the same time and then was able to land the shot. And that's what's so impressive, and with Islam, he has a tendency sometimes to lunge in with the jab a little bit. And he's really good at getting his kick up there and bringing his kick back. But if you leave your hands out there too long, Topuria is going to slide in and cover that distance and touch you. And with his power, it could be lights out real quick. In terms of the ground, the wrestling scares me a little bit, only based on the fact that, look, I've wrestled my whole life, and wrestling smaller, shorter, stubbier guys like a Volk and like a Topuria, they're such a pain in the ass to hold down. That whole thing with mat return, you pick them up and take them down, they hit their knees and they bounce back up because they only got to stand up about 2 inches and they're back on their feet. That's exactly what
6 inches. Yeah,
it's true. It's exactly what it's like. And so that scares me a little bit. Like, he may struggle to hold him down. He may struggle to, because it's hard when guys start pushing on the head. Well, they only got to clear 3 inches and their knees clear. Like their legs are not very long. And that's where Topuria is at right now. So those are all things that if you're a world-class fighter, if you're someone like Islam, you're going, okay, look, I've got things I've got to really take a look at and go like, hey, how am I going to get this guy down? Shooting double legs is going to be great because he can then lift and scoop and then take him down. Those are all fantastic. But when you take him down, you've got to make sure that you've got him tight wrapped around the butt or above the waist. You can't be taking him down by his knees, because as soon as you hit the ground, Topuria is going to push on the head, clear the knee, and now I got to work my way up the body. It's very difficult for the bigger, taller, longer guys to do that. So there's a lot of things that the Islam's going to have to work through in this camp to deal with Topuria. Very much how so he did in the first fight with Volk. Very similar problems he's going to have, except he's going to have more of a threat in the power and the boxing with Topuria. So this is going to be like, John, 2 weeks ago, I was sitting up here going, he should fight somebody to get in. But now we kind of have an idea that this fight's going to pretty much happen. I have to be honest with myself. This is probably I would say, only from based off of what we've seen, it's the most dangerous fight for Islam in this weight class. Until you get to, I can't even imagine like who else. I mean, anybody else in this weight class? Not really. There's nobody else really in this weight class that I look at. I go, hey, is going to give Islam Arman. Yeah. Arman, but then they really, what it comes down to is, it's not even so much dangerous. Arman to me is not extremely dangerous for them. They're an evenly matched fight. Topuria is dangerous.
Yeah.
Arman's got power in his hands, but he's wild with his strike. He's not as technical. He makes a lot more mistakes. He tries to use his athleticism to get himself out of mistakes and his strength and his ability. Yeah. Topuria doesn't leave himself out of position. Topuria, he's very technical. He stays tight with his defense, doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and he's going to capitalize on the mistakes that you make. High fight IQ, very confident in what he can do. And it makes for a fun fight, man. It makes for a really good fun fight. In the clinch is what concerns me because of the chin up and the tie plum. That's one. Two is in the body lock. It's going to be harder for him to get to the body lock because he's going to have to reach down by his knees to get to the body lock on Topuria. So he's you know what I mean? So, where he will have some advantage is when he does get the over-under, the foot sweeps, the inside trips, the lifting with the knee, as they like to do when they get the body lock, lift with the knee at the crotch and then take him down that way. Yeah. Those things he'll have success with. If he's able to snatch the single, elevate, because he's going to be a lot taller, he'll be able to lift, and that'll take Topuria off balance, then he can foot sweep and get to the back position. So I like it. I like the fight for Islam, but there are some things that I've really in my mind been playing over. Okay, you got to avoid this. Try not to do this too much. And
so now here's the real question. Last one for you. Colby Covington, why in the world is he hanging out with Neon?
Is Neon the one that sparred Sean Strickland?
No, he's the one that ran from Nate Diaz when he did the whole.
He's the little guy with the glasses.
The way he's got these
really
glasses, yeah.
Who's the one that sparred with Sean Strickland?
Sneeko.
Okay. I got a little bit more respect for Sneeko.
Oh, total respect.
Yeah. He took his ass. He actually took his ass whooping, bro.
Oh yeah,
and he delivered a couple shots too. I was like, okay, boy.
Strickland let him go for about 2.5 minutes, then said,
"But good on him."
Oh, okay.
Thank God for Forrest Griffin.
Yeah, right.
the only one with common sense.
Right. But yeah, exactly. Who would have thought one day we'd be saying that about
exactly? Forrest? And if you knew Forrest, you go, that's impressive.
That is. Sneeko's the one. Neon's the one with the glasses. Yeah, the one they wouldn't let into the UFC that one time, right?
He was the one that did all the chirping at Nate Diaz during the press conference with Jake Paul stuff and everything, and then was running for his life.
Oh, that's right. That's right. In
Parking lot.
Nate's boys were chasing after him, right? Oh, dude,
So
man.
you look and go, what is Colby doing?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, you got to be careful. Like some guys just like they don't. I don't think they don't wrap their heads around the fact that
Some guys don't play.
this is true.
It's like, oh, I'm just kidding. No.
Yeah.
No. This is an FAFO moment, and you're gonna find out.
John, can I say this real quick? I almost got into something yesterday. We were driving, had the kids in the back, and on my street where I live, there's a landscape truck. They got a trailer attached, and there's a guy driving, and he pulls over right next to the landscape truck. And so there's only like literally I can barely squeeze my car through. So he's blocking basically both ways. And he pulls over, and as I drive by, I was like, "What the fuck?" I put my hands up, and he honks his horn and hops out of his car like that. And so I stopped, and I'm like, my kids are in the back, wife's sitting next to me, and I'm like, okay. So, anyways, I look over and he gets out, and I open my door. I go, hey, you're literally parked on the wrong side of the road. That's one. Two is, what are you doing? I go, well, you couldn't like pull up further so people could go around you and around this truck. And he's like, you got something to say, man, get out of the car and say it. And I was just like, hey, and like, what's great about my wife, she don't want to get involved with this. She's like, whatever. Like, hey, you asked for it, And so it's like, hey, whatever. So, but I just took a deep breath, and I go, hey, you could have pulled up. You could have and he goes, I'm letting my kids out. He's like, just fucking beat it. I said, you're letting your kids out on the street side? Very smart of you. And then that got him even more worked up, and then now I've got 3 cars in front of me and 2 cars behind me blocking traffic. And I just finally at the end, not even at the end, like literally seconds later, I go, he was like, why don't you just get out of the car then? And I just looked at him. I go, you're really embarrassing your kids right now. I said, get back in your car. And then he just kind of stopped. He didn't know what to say.
You just tell him, look, I don't want to make your kids cry. Get back
I just was like, bro, I just put my head down. I just closed my door. I just was seconds away. I was a second away from the car, John. But I was like really over this. And the fact that I'm in my community, and it was pretty evident the guy didn't live in our community. Because I think for me and my kids, I think to myself, I'm like, man, you can't beat up some dude that lives in your community, and that kid's going to be this horrible, horrible thing, right? And I was just, and the guy gets out. It's freaking John. It's like 9 a.m, 8:30 in the morning. We're headed to a soccer game, and I'm like, it's not how I want to start my day. But I was this close. I just want to see if I still had it. No, you know what I mean? But he gets out. He's got a little, he's a little shorter guy. I mean, short, like is in like,
just give me a call if you need to get bailed out or something.
Gosh, John, just was like, come on. But I'm like, for a split second, I just thought to myself, I'm like, man, you're gonna embarrass this guy in front of his kids. That's when I told him. I said, hey, you're embarrassing yourself in front of your kids. And then I was like, just get back in your car. And he just was like, won't you get out? And he stopped for a second before he said anything. And then I was just like, I shut my door and drove away. It's like, whatever. But it was, you have those
at my age, I'm in the point, I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah. But it was a safety. Look, John, it literally was like a safety thing.
No,
the truck on one side, him, and he's going to let his kids out on this side. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So I know I'm whining about nothing. Hey, go ahead and give us what else you got there, George.
All right, we got a little bit more, then we'll get to our fan questions.
Let's go.
We're giving you guys a long show because it's Easter Sunday, and we love you guys. That's why.
Yeah, you better appreciate it. Comment below how much you love us. Comment below Happy Easter.
Hit the subscribe button, man. Hit the thumbs up and the bell notifications.
All of that. Come on,
share our content, man. Let everyone know. For Easter Sunday, we dropped you guys probably close to a 2-hour long show by the time we get done with this. Let's go.
All right. So recently, Israel.
George is like, wait, we're gonna drop 2 hours? Is that what we're doing?
What?
I'm down.
Okay, let's go.
Recently, we had Israel Adesanya training with not only Kamaru Usman, but also Sugar Sean O'Malley. And after the training session, Tim Welsh went to his YouTube channel, and he mentioned that there is a very interesting fight Israel Adesanya is looking at for his next comeback fight. He said, and I quote, another thing with Izzy, he is saying he's kind of enjoying his life. Before, he was just taking all these back-to-back fights. If you look at some of the old pay-per-views, every other pay-per-view he was the headliner of. It seems like he's wanting that Strickland fight back. Do you think that is a good next fight for Israel Adesanya, the rematch with Sean Strickland?
Look at, is Israel coming off of a loss?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Is Sean coming off of a loss?
Yes, sir.
Which one is going to be the guy that's going to stay in the top position of the middleweights, and which one's not going to drop out? It's a perfect one. It's a fight that he wants, and that has a lot to do with it. They both need a win. The UFC likes to put guys together, especially two former champions coming off of losses. This makes sense. And it's, you look at it, and it is absolutely in the playbook of UFC matchmaking. So,
yeah. I mean, if you're Izzy, you'd love to get that fight back.
Sure.
If you're Sean's someone that doesn't seem like he turns down really a whole lot of fights. Yeah. Stylistically, I think it makes for a fun fight for the fans. It makes sense, and I guess you said it is if he wants it, why would I stop him?
That's it.
Because when he was champion, he was fighting all the time because the money's great.
Exactly. And you have to look and say, if there's one thing that the UFC does, when guys, do them a solid, which Izzy did multiple times, in taking fights that, he didn't really want to fight, but he took the fight because they needed a big name for the headline of a certain show. He did them solids. Well, they don't forget. And it's, no different than, other people, Cowboy Cerrone and, different people like that. They don't forget. And so if this is a fight, he goes, that's a fight I would like to have, then they're going to say, yeah, it makes sense. Let's do it. That's right.
I think also, like I said, there's fights, we see it with the older fighters, especially guys that have been the champion, and they've achieved what they wanted to achieve. Kamaru Usman, I want fights that motivate me.
Yeah.
Dustin Poirier, I want fights that motivate me. I want to fight legends for his last fight. It makes sense. It just makes sense. Like you want, every time you get in there now, you need to find something that sparks you. Because you've already fought all the best guys.
Exactly.
All those guys, I fought them all. And I had success against almost all of them. And then the ones that did beat me, sure, I want to get them back. But there's certain ones that motivate me more because of the way I lost. I knew I could have done better, whatever it is. In that situation, look, if he says Strickland's the guy, I think the UFC would probably honor it. And Strickland's still young enough to be like, hey, I'll just fight whoever. That's just the way he is. So this is one of those fights that I'm looking forward to seeing the rematch, because I want to know, was the first fight a fluke?
No.
You don't think so?
No, it wasn't a fluke. It was a guy that dominated. No, look, that first round, and this is what sometimes people don't realize. That first round, when Sean hit Izzy and hurt him, and then went after him, jackhammered, let's say 35 left hands into his head, that has an effect on you for the next 4 rounds. Don't think, oh, he got out of it, he's okay, he's good. No, he's there, but he's not the same. And so he got diminished, and by being diminished, he wasn't able to make up, what he needed to win that fight. And that's just the way it is. That's
what I'm saying. Was that first shot, was that a fluke? And then that led to him just kind of running away with the fight after that?
No, I don't think it was a fluke. It was an opening. It was an opening that was taken by someone who's, good at what they do. You got to figure right now in the ranking, Sean Strickland is still up somewhere around number 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, somewhere in there. I don't know.
Yeah, he's number 2.
Okay, he's number 2. And so, it's, in looking at it, Izzy's not far behind, I'm sure, but
Izzy's number 4.
He is behind him. Okay, makes sense. I'm going to put number 2 against number 4. Yep, makes sense to me. Do it.
Yeah, no, it does make sense. And if Izzy wants that fight, and Sean's will be more than obliged, I believe. So try to get himself back into the title talk. Both of them trying to get themselves back into the title talk. So I'm looking forward to seeing that fight. What else you got for us, George?
All right. Added to UFC 316, Merab versus O'Malley 2, we have Kevin Holland versus Vicente Luque.
I saw that one being put together, and I was like, it makes sense. First off, I'd rather see Kevin Holland fighting at 170 than 185 any day. That's the weight class he should be fighting at. He's a problem there. The real question is, with Vicente, he's still in the top 15 in the UFC's rankings. but he has slowed down some. He looked good in his last fight. He looked really good. And so you look and you go, hey, is it that he had that little bit of a slump and now he's coming back? Could be. We're going to find out. But, that's not an easy opponent for Vicente, because Vicente doesn't like to really wrestle and go to the ground, which is, if you're going to say where's, Kevin Holland's weakness, it's when people want to wrestle him, take him down, and control him on the ground. In the stand-up, Holland's a problem in that he's got your whole thing. He's tall, long, and lanky, and I mean he's long.
Yeah,
and he does have power. It's not like he doesn't, and he can be in a stand-up battle. He was in a stand-up battle with Wonder Boy for the 3 rounds and stuff. And so you look and you go, it's not going to be an easy fight for Luque. Luque's got the power; he can hurt anybody, and if he gets his hands on him, but it's going to be a tough task to land those good shots. I like the fight.
Yeah. No, I do actually really like the fight. That gives Kevin Holland an opportunity to get back into the top 15.
Yep.
That's one. Two is, if we see a similar Kevin Holland we saw last fight, Vicente's in trouble.
Yeah.
Just Vicente right now, either there's a spark missing, something's not really motivating him, or he's just he's been doing it for so long, it's just not there anymore.
Yeah.
The other thing, John, is that some guys, they have once the blue pin's been written on them, they really can't change it. Like Vicente Luque is kind of that guy. He's a stand-up guy. He's not bad on the ground.
No,
he's just not great on the ground. But he's never going to be a jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah.
Kevin Holland's body style allows him to be.
He's got a great darts choke.
Yeah, he does.
It's
he does. But my thing is though, is that with Kevin Holland, he's got the reach on this, and he's also got the speed advantage. He got the reach, whether the kicks and the length in the arms. He can be a striker if he wants to with Vicente Luque, and he can take this fight to the ground and be the top guy. And so he can also do damage off of his back, like we saw with Jeffery. He can do this thing everywhere. But if you see a motivated, focused Kevin Holland like we did last fight, I think Vicente Luque is in a lot of trouble. Yeah. The years of, it looks like Vicente's kind of not checked out. Even though he had a good performance last fight, he's just not checked out. It's just not the. Once the blueprint's been written, it's hard for guys like him to change everything they do. Whereas Kevin Holland has the ability to take it kind of everywhere. So what else you got for us there, George?
All right. Well, Jake Paul has announced his next boxing opponent.
Yeah,
it is going to be Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Not senior,
pony boy.
But that will be June 28th in Anaheim, California at the Honda Center. What do you guys think about this?
Is you guys think about this? International Fight Week, June 28th?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Why would you fucking anyways? Wow. Wow.
Wow.
I mean, yeah.
Look here. I'm gonna. You don't do MMA math. You don't do boxing math, but I'm going to. Let's see. For basically not his first boxing match, but his first big boxing match, Anderson Silva fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and actually made him look bad. Mm-hmm. Okay. Jake Paul has fought Anderson Silva. Now it was a couple years later, but still, Jake Paul put it on Anderson. This is not even close. Jake Paul's going to fight.
Yeah.
He's going to. One of the downfalls of Cesar Jr. is he doesn't train, and he's not active in keeping himself, in top condition. He's not active in getting better at boxing. He's a name, and he likes money, and that's really what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, if he was to be Jake Paul, I mean, that'd write his ticket to do something else. And I know that there's a slim chance he's going to do it. I mean, I'd heard he just got out of rehab a couple months back.
That's always a good thing.
There was an intervention, and that's a great thing, to be honest, John, for him to go into this.
Oh, it's great
if being focused.
If it was his decision to go in, it's fantastic.
I don't think it was. It was intervention. Yeah. I heard it was a family intervention.
It's never good.
Yeah, so hopefully he stays ready to go, and if he can get this win or make it a close fight, he can rewrite his ticket and get a couple more fights.
Yeah,
but we'll see. I'm not holding my breath. But it's the same weekend, I believe, is International Fight Week. So if that's the case, then obviously I won't be watching it. So I'll watch the replay of it, like on the free TV.
Freaky.
So,
Got it.
I mean, is it going to be on Netflix? Does it say where it's going to be?
It doesn't right now. It'll be. Oh,
Okay.
it says it'll be on DAZN. Yes. it
Oh, okay.
says.
Yeah, I don't have the zone either, so I'm not.
Not watching it.
Yeah, someone will post it, and I'll watch it from there. What else do you got for us there, George?
Well, that is all of our news, but I would like to go into our OnlyFans fan questions of the month or week or however often we're going to do
The
it.
month, the week, the year, the decade.
Yeah, so what we did is we took some fan questions from our OnlyFans channel, and we'll take a couple from some other, either from YouTube or from our other platforms as well, from X and Twitter and Twitch and Kick and all those ones. But yeah, we have some that are available here, so let me go ahead and read them off. You want to read them off, or do you want me to?
I can read them off because some of these have like 4 questions all built into one. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I just want to get to the meat and
Yeah,
potatoes
some of them
it.
probably have big words too, and I probably can't spell them.
I know, I'm already half cross-eyed. But from OnlyFans fan Alex the Great, one of his questions were, if they were to fight in the O2, which of these 3 is the bigger fight? Armin and Patty, Charles and Patty, or Patty and Ilya?
In the O2?
In the O2 arena.
Oh, geez, come on. The last one.
Mm.
Yeah. It would be Ilya Taporia and Patty Pimlet at the O2 arena.
Okay. You agree, Mr. John?
Yeah, unfortunately, I do. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, it actually could be Charles, because Charles is very well known throughout, the MMA community, and he's very well liked in
That's
England.
true.
So that could be the one that actually works out better. But I would say that Ilya, based upon Spain versus England, yeah.
I have a question. Is this before or after Ilya loses to Islam? That's all I want to know. If it's before, then I think that does better. If it's after, I think it'll end up being Charles, to be honest.
There you go.
Yeah.
That does make a lot of sense.
See, that's where my bias is right there, guys. See, that's where I gave you a non-biased opinion earlier. I'm giving you a biased one in that little comment. All right, next.
I want to get one more from Alex because he put a bunch, so I don't want to just shortchange him. You feel me?
Gotcha.
But he said, if Islam were to capture his second belt when he moves up, would that make his legacy finally better than Khabib's?
Can I take this one, John?
Yeah.
I think it's already better than Khabib's. And that's not a jab at my boy. Not at all. And I think Khabib might even tell you that it probably already is. I mean, look, 29-0 is remarkable. But Islam has been able to defend it multiple times against world-class guys. It was very unfortunate Khabib didn't get to fight more and didn't get to defend it more. Khabib will always go down as, like John said, the most dominant probably fighter ever in the UFC. He'll probably be that way forever. I mean, not forever. There's to be someone that comes along that maybe does it. But what he did was remarkable. We can't take away from what Khabib did. There's just no doubt. But if Islam goes on into the capture of welterweight title, it definitely I've already had him slightly ahead of Khabib, but I think for sure it just solidifies it.
Yeah. So, and I look at it a little bit different. I go with, look, he's fantastic, but he does have a loss. Khabib never had a loss. So that's a huge part. Has he been the most dominant fighter? No. Khabib was the most dominant fighter. But if he does leave his weight class and goes and gets a second title, then you got to say he's more successful.
So you're saying Khabib's more than him right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's based upon just the way I look at it. Mm-hmm. But when you're looking at it, I'm saying, first off, one guy went and never had that night where it wasn't his hand being raised. Okay. Islam has had that night, and he's had ones that were really close too in other ones. So, not that he didn't get to win.
The Volk fight, really? That was just the Volk fight. What other fight was close?
Barnaby.
John, that was before the UFC.
I didn't
no
say
one even watches that shit.
Still, I watch it. So it's a matter of, he's had those nights that are.
Barnaby was a town before I met Barnaby.
he's had those nights, and then on top of it, now I go and say, okay, how dominant is Islam? In some fights, he's really dominant, and in other fights, he's not. Where with Khabib, he was always dominant. He did what he did, and no one could stop it. So right now, I look and I go, he's gonna have a hard time passing it. If he wins, let's say 3 more as the champion, you're starting to push him over the edge. But if he wins 1 in the 170 pound, he gets it. He's won 2 titles in different weight classes.
Wow. I don't know. I mean, I kind of think he's already surpassed him just by the guys he's beaten as a champion.
That's just because, again, and this comes down to you have a bias because Islam was nicer in training to you than Habib was.
He was not.
Habib was mean.
No, actually, it was the roles were reversed.
Exactly.
Islam was to me with Islam. I had to always worry about the feet because he had that sneaky high head kick.
Yeah.
You always had to worry about that, and I hated fighting left-handers, southpaw guys. Habib, you just knew the takedown's coming, and if you can stop 2 or 3. That's fucking remarkable. Yeah. If you can get up twice, you're doing great. I walked away from the day going, man, this was a great day.
Yeah, this is a good rating there right here.
He didn't get 7 and 8 and hold me down, or he only got 1, and I was able to get up. That to me was a good day, not just to me, but for everyone. All right, what else? What else you got from us from OnlyFans? Our OnlyFans questions.
All right, so we got fan JW. Would MMA judging be better if the judges were not cage side, but in some back room with a high def TV?
It's a good question, John.
It's a very good question, and it makes sense in a lot of ways other than what is missing. And what is missing is the sound. The
blood splatter.
Yeah, well, the blood splatter is something is nice to be in the back room. But in fact, I was just watching which one was it? It was God damn.
It was the Michael Chandler when he got blood splatter
on Henry Hoof.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, you see Henry God damn it,
he takes his glasses off and wipes them.
It happens to all of us and stuff, and it's yep, that was a bad one. But you look and you say the sound tells you a ton. Because as a judge, you're using all those senses. It's not only your vision, it's your ears and your auditory. And you can hear the difference in the power of things and how they land. And that is a great tool for the judges. That's why I say I like it to where the judge has a giant monitor in front of them that they can see all the angles that are happening in the fight. If it's right in front of them, then just watch it right in front of you. But if you're having anything going off, watch the monitor. But you need to be down there so you can hear, because hearing things can absolutely make a difference in who you give that round to.
Isn't that why you retired? You were kind of going deaf a little bit, and you couldn't hear the sound of the impact anymore. So, hey, moving on. Next question from OnlyFans.
JW also has a question just for you, Josh. How many drinks would it take for Podcast Dave to hit the Russian arm tie snap on you?
I would fuck Dave up.
Hold on. What was?
How many drinks would it take for Dave to be able to hit a?
There's not enough alcohol in this country.
I still train every once in a while, right? I haven't found my home yet here in Texas, but man,
first off, we'd have to teach Podcast Dave that technique.
Yeah, it would take us months for him to be able to learn that move. Yeah. So, but yeah,
that's a good one.
Next question is from James Wright, and I know we've talked about this a lot, but. What do you guys think about Aaron Pico being in the UFC? Do y'all think they're gonna give him a favorable matchup, building him in the company, or will they feed him to the wolves, so to speak?
I'm going to tell you right now. First off, I think it's fantastic that Aaron is in the UFC. He's a breath of fresh air. He's a fantastic fighter. He's a fantastic person. The UFC is gonna love him as far as the way that he conducts himself, the way that he comes to their press conferences, the way that he handles himself. They're going to just absolutely be enthralled with him and in that position. Second, there's nobody in the 145-pound division right now that can just manhandle Aaron Pico. Sorry. And I'm not saying there's not people that can't beat him right now, but they're few and far between. He is way better than you guys understand. And that's because even though he hasn't been fighting, he's had some bad luck in certain areas. But once he went to Albuquerque and started training with Jackson Wink, he has learned how to become a fighter. He had no clue of how to fight before. He was thrown to the wolves in that situation based upon he wanted to make a lot of money. And they told him, hey, look, we'll help you. We'll bring you along, giving you lesser talent. If you make this much, if you want to make this much, then we're going to put some true talent against you. We're not going to make it easy. He chose the one that he wanted, and it didn't work out. And, you can see the difference in, there's other fighters, AJ McKee, he went the slow route. He went, I don't need as much money right now, and I'll take the lesser so I get experience. It worked. So, now Aaron Pico doesn't make the mistakes that he made when he was young. And he understands all the different variables that go into the different techniques that he's using. He is very good with his submissions now. His wrestling's fantastic. His stand-up is fantastic. He doesn't leave his chin out in the open like he used to. He's a different fighter, and he is going to be a superstar in the UFC.
I'm going to reserve that.
Go ahead.
What you said. I think he's fantastic. All of those things that you said, I think are very true. The part that I think he may potentially end up being a superstar, whether he has success or not, because he's so lovable and likable by so many people. I mean, I know people that have known him since he was, 8, 9, 10 years old wrestling, and people still talk about him like he's just such a great kid. So it's hard not to root for him. That being said, all the fighters that he potentially could be matched up. I know he was supposed to fight Evloev. He talked about it on the Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo podcast, saying like, hey, the fight didn't happen because Evloev didn't want to miss out on, fighting for the title. If he took the fight, then they would potentially skip him because that would schedule him out for however long. And Pico wants to get active and be busy right away. So, I mean, out of Pico's mouth, I want to fight those guys at that level. And I know you were giving me a hard time busting my balls. I said like, oh, no, like you want to get him in there. I do agree. I've always said this about fighters coming into the UFC. Take a warm-up fight. And I'm not saying none of them are easy warm-up fights, but especially the 145-pound division.
Yeah, if you can take a lesser one in the beginning, just the first one, do it.
Yeah, just the warm. Yeah, but he's already talking about those guys at the top. He said Aljamain Sterling. I think stylistically, that's a bad matchup for him. That to me, that is a bad matchup. When you have somebody that is that good in one area, but he's also a very big body. Aljamain Sterling is huge for 135. He's still pretty big for 145.
He's Aaron Pico's size.
Pico's not a big 45-pounder, John.
Well, but Aljamain's not a big 45. He's a big 135er.
He is a big 135, but if you put him and Evloev next to each other, both of them were very similar in size. So he's not that small.
No, he's not.
So I mean, I'm gonna like I just looked at the matchups. I would have taken the Danny Ige fight, the Calvin Kattar fight, even the Zalal fight. I would take the Giga fight for sure. I would take the Jean Silva fight. Not right now, just because there's just not enough. I don't have enough on him to know like how damn good he really is, because he's making it look really easy right now.
He's
John,
good.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah. The Josh Emmett fight does scare me a little bit but it doesn't scare me because of the power scares me. But it doesn't scare me because I know Aaron Pico's a cardio machine. And if you're going to have that fight and the ability to wrestle, and you can Josh Emmett slowed down after one round of wrestling. We saw it. Yeah. We just watched that 2 weeks ago or whatever it was. Yep. Like Aaron Pico, I'm sorry, but all of these guys are going to have a hard time keeping up with him when it comes to conditioning and cardio. Yeah. He's a conditioning and cardio freak, just a freak. So there's a lot of good fights. I know I wanted to jump him up to Evloev, and everyone was saying no. But John, I mean, down there at the bottom, I'm down with the Kattar and the Danny Ige and the Zalal and the Diakiese and and the Emmett fight. I'm down for those fights. Yeah. Definitely down with it. What about like how crazy would it be? What about a Pitbull and Aaron Pico fight?
No. And the reason why is
as
simple as it gets. Because the fans of the UFC, they don't care about that fight. Because
that's true.
Neither guy for them is the one they want to see. I want to see I want to see Dan Ige fight Pitbull. Okay, great. Love to see that fight.
Yeah,
great
me
fight.
too.
I want to see Lerone Murphy fight Aaron Pico. Okay, great fight.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I wonder if Lerone Murphy could keep it on the feet. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. On the feet.
And the reason why is this. and this is exactly what I was talking about when I was talking about Aaron. He has learned how to fight. Before, Aaron was stand up and then wrestle, but he couldn't merge them together.
No.
Now he merges them very well together, and he's going to use his stand up, and he's very fast. And Laurent's super fast too. But when Aaron comes in, Laurent's going to be defending, and Aaron's going to change levels on him and be into his legs and just absolutely pick him up and drop him on the ground. And he's going to do it whenever he wants.
Mm-hmm. Agree. Next question from OnlyFans. What you got?
All right, we got Callie. She said, Ian Gary wasn't able to finish the RNC against Shavkat or MVP with the body triangle. Any chance he ends up in the same position with Prates? Are there
chance?
And she said, and are there finishing mechanics? What did I say? And are the finishing mechanics something that Shootbox should be able to fix?
Okay, let's break this down. First off, when you get someone's back, there's all kinds of things that we do to create situations that give you the ability to lock in a rear naked choke.
Mm-hmm.
But it's easy to say, and it's not easy to do. Especially not easy to do when you got a glove on your hand. It's like a giant blocking thing, and people are grabbing and they're holding, and you're trying to pull your hands free, and that glove is creating if they normally have let's say a 5 out of 10 grip, their grip is now 8 with the glove. It just intensifies their ability to be able to control your arm and for you to not get it free. So there's all kinds of things that happen. The guys that understand how to manipulate the use of their legs and the use of their arms in a specific fashion. BJ Penn was so clean with how, he would never, because, you watch people when they're going to sit there and do a rear naked choke. And the big thing is, whoop, and they bring their hand on this big old bit looping thing over the top. And you look and you go, yeah, that works for movies. It doesn't work in a real fight. You need to be able to take, and this goes, and you're scissoring.
Hit the mic again.
BJ was one of the best at that scissor. He just made it, and because you can't grab at it. It's not something that's being put up there for you to control. Every fighter needs to have that type of ability, but they can't. There's some that they've done it so long and they're so good at it, but it's not an easy thing. And the fact that Ian, Gary has had those abilities to get it, but hasn't made it work. I can name you a whole lot of people that are really freaking phenomenal on the ground that have missed the rear naked choke on people when you thought, oh, it's going to be over, and they can't get it. It's not easy.
Yeah, it's the UFC gloves. It's not always all the gloves. Like the Strikeforce gloves were amazing for
those are Fairtex gloves.
Yeah, the Fairtex gloves were awesome for grappling.
Yep.
So the Dream and Pride gloves were good for grappling as well. There was a little bit of an issue there. They're
not as good as the Fairtex. The Fairtex were very, very, as I would say, lean in the shape of them.
Yep.
They didn't have a big block to it, but.
Well, I mean, with not Prates, but Ian Gary, I mean, he's basically going to say like, oh, MVP is not as fast as me. He can't do this. He can't do that. He can't stand with me. And then 20 seconds in, he'll be shooting. Yeah. So look for him to get the takedown against Prates. Don't look for him to stand a whole lot. He may stand just enough to try to get himself entered into some sort of clinch and try to hit that position. In terms of the rear naked, it just takes time, and you got to be able to hit it. The gloves make a big difference, especially the old gloves. Or not, sorry, the ones that they went away from. They went to and then they went away from.
The new gloves that they got rid of.
The new gloves. There you go, John. Thanks for clarifying.
You got it.
Those gloves, those are actually a little bit more grappling friendly because the padding wasn't as bulky, and they had a little bit more shape to them, and it just made it easier to shove the pad behind the back of the head and hit rear nakeds. That being said, the old gloves, or the new ones that they're back to, the original ones, those ones have that thick, hard,
and it's a big square.
It's a big square that's just put in there, and those are hard to get behind someone's head, especially when they're leaning back into you, keeping their chin tucked. All of those things, it's hard to move them. But like John was bringing up with the BJ Penn situation, if you haven't seen how BJ Penn finishes his rear naked, go back and watch the Kenny Florian fight. That fight was fantastic. Kenny defended properly. BJ pulled it out, put it back in. Kenny defended properly. He did it 2 or 3 times in a row. Pulled it out, pulled it back in. And finally, eventually, he got it. And it's one of the most beautiful things I've seen in the grappling world when it came down to a fight grappling. And the way he was able to finish Kenny that way was fantastic. So, next question from OnlyFans.
All right, this is the last one I personally have from OnlyFans.
Okay.
This is from Hello and Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Was it the right move for GFL? No. Was it the right move for GFL to start off getting fighters collectively a huge share instead of working their way to it by starting off a reasonable number, which would still give them a safe amount to work with as they built better footing for their future?
I mean, John, they pretty much answered your question just by the fact they're out of business already. So was it the right idea? No, it was not. Obviously, they're already out of business. So the fact that they're already gone says everything.
It really comes down to this. When you're taking, what they tried to use is they tried to take fighters' names and use those names while they didn't have to pay them to get investors and people interested in what they were doing. Was that good for the fighters? Truthfully, no. But the fighters decided, well, we'll do that in an attempt to see that, we have a place that we can make some money at, do some fights for, most of them for the end of our careers and stuff. But, anytime you get an organization that comes out and says, what incredible things they're going to be doing and that they're going to be competing with the UFC or that they're going to be on pay-per-view and they're going to make big money on pay-per-view because of the fighters they have, that there are people there that have no understanding of the promotion of MMA and what it's going to take. And, that's why instead of the Global Fight League, they're the Gone Forever League. They're never coming back.
Gone forever. All right. That's going to wrap up our OnlyFans questions. What other questions do you have for us there, George?
Well, technically you didn't ask me to get any.
Oh, perfect.
Beforehand. You just kind of thought of it on the spot. Dave never posted it on the community tab.
That's awesome.
There's nothing that we posted on
okay.
IG about it. I don't have access to our Rumble. Dave has it, so
that gives you guys more incentive. Follow us over at OnlyFans, man. Like and subscribe us over there. It is free. We do extra content. We do live over there as well every week, and we post more stuff on that platform over there on OnlyFans. Like I said, subscribe. Most of you guys already have OnlyFans. We already know that. And you guys can follow other fighters that are on there as well. You've got Luke Rockhold, Chris Cyborg, Demetrius Johnson. DJ has been doing a great job on his podcast and stuff. So I know he's doing some extra content on that platform as well. So, hey, like and subscribe us over there. If you jump on and follow us and you follow other MMA fighters, you don't follow any of the other schmut, you won't see any of that on your platform. That's what's great about their algorithm. So you don't have to worry about it. Yeah, it's schmut. Yeah.
What's schmut?
Cinnamon rolls and stuff. Things like that.
Cooking with Volk.
Yeah, cooking with Volk. So, but yeah, all that. So, hey, join us on over there. And I want to thank you guys so much for continuing to support us. BetUSTV.com, BetUSTV.com. Make sure you guys hit them up. Check out their sporting book. It's sporting system,
Sports content.
Sports content.
We got the NBA playoffs coming up. I would put everything on the Lakers to beat the Timberwolves, but don't trust me.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm a big Denver Nuggets fan. One of my good buddies, his son plays for them, so I definitely am tuning in. They won today, a very nail biter, and came back, and they won by 3 coming up. I was watching the end of the game as we were getting ready to start the pod. That's why I kept doing this. Because it was the last 30 seconds of a basketball game takes like 12 minutes, 15 minutes.
Did you see Aaron Gordon? Aaron Gordon had a black eye and a bruised jaw. What happened with him?
That's Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon's my buddy's son.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, AG. We call him AG.
I like him a lot. One of the best dunk contests ever.
He's a stud, man. He's a great kid, too. He used to train at my gym in California when I owned Knox. So he used to train there, him and his brother. His brother just passed away, and that's why he changed his number to 32. Mm-hmm. So his brother died in a car accident. Someone crossed the median, and but yeah, great kid, man. Absolutely great kid.
I was going to say that's how he got the black eye and stuff. There was this guy, and there was this landscaping car, and this guy pulled
Nah, man. AG's a good kid, though, man. Good family, everything, like great family, man. Good people. Before we go, I wanted to wish everyone a happy Easter. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful time with family. If you guys go to church, God bless. And if you guys don't go to church, hey, enjoy your time with family, friends, do whatever it is you want to do. But just remember, hey, just be kind to somebody, like John likes to say. Spend this day being kind. If someone, in a truck gets out and starts doing something, you just get out, say, hey, have a blessed day. Okay, and move on with your day. But it's been awesome having you guys as supporting us in our show. And I know I like to give you guys a bunch of shit in the comments, but hey, that's just me and good to have to deal with it.
And truly, from the bottom of my heart, I've been here almost a complete year now. Thank you guys for all the love, everything. Just the communication, reaching out to me, comments. It truly makes my life seeing it. So thank you. And thank you, John and Josh. I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely, man.
Thank you,
Love
Georgie.
it. This has been fun, man. This has been great. We've been doing a great job and having some fun. So if you guys like our content, share our content across. Go ahead and take clip it and snippets. I know people sometimes take off the snippets from the social media. When people do it, we enjoy it. We love it. So if you guys tag us in it, we'll repost it. I want to thank you guys for supporting us all these years. John, go ahead, buddy.
Absolutely. So everyone out there, as Josh said, I hope you have a wonderful Easter. Spend it with your family. God bless everyone, and we will see you.